Time for a video, fighting game community video. And I want to give a few examples of different video games when I talk about this. I just want to talk about also the English language, actually, because my English is terrible, but I want to talk about the word optimal in video games because it's such clickbait, and it's a very strange thing because certain games, it's very obvious. You can tell if something is optimal or not. Other games, optimal becomes a little bit more hazy, right? But certain games, there's not really the word, how people use it doesn't make any sense because it's too clear cut, right? Because you can have something like, oh, this is the optimal idea, or this is the actual optimal thing, right? So anyway, what I'm going to get, I'm going to, like I said, compare this to a few games, right? So one thing you see is everyone's like, oh, this is the optimal combo. This is the optimal situation, whatever. And so often people post this is the optimal, this is the max thing, and it's not even the optimal idea of what they're doing. Not only is it not optimal, it's not even the optimal idea. I know people use the word route, these route for combos and stuff like this, right? And a lot of times people just feel like, oh, this is the optimal thing because I did it. And it's really fucking weird. And even you sit and you watch like a tournament, like, oh, he's doing the optimal thing. And it's weird in a game like Dragon Ball FighterZ, and we'll give other examples too to show you what I'm talking about, because Dragon Ball FighterZ is a game without a lot of variables. The real variables to see how much optimal something is how much meter it does, how much damage it does, or does it get like a sliding knockdown. There's not really a lot of variables to talk about. You know what I mean? Like, what variable is there? It's like you get like maybe 3 potential variables or something like that. And it's like there's no question really, generally speaking, if something is optimal or not. You can tell, right? So that's why in Dragon Ball FighterZ, it's so weird that it gets used in a game like Dragon Ball FighterZ to such an extent, because there's actually not much question of the word. There's not much of a variable. So many times people use the word, oh, this is the optimal thing. And it's like, it's so far from being optimal, and there's not even a question if it's optimal, because it's not even the optimal idea of a combo, right? So Dragon Ball FighterZ is a game that, I said before, Dragon Ball FighterZ is a game that discourages you from being optimal. But what is optimal is very obvious. That's the funny thing, right? And I've said this before, Dragon Ball FighterZ discourages you from being optimal because it's a tag team game that uses a time system for how combos work, right? We're talking in this aspect, right? Let's not even get into the aspect of what's optimal playstyle wise for the time being, but so in Dragon Ball FighterZ, I use the idea that, time limit is bad for fighting games, period, right? Because it's a hectic nature. Like, oh, if my assist hits at point A over here versus if it hit at point B over here, A, B, whatever, a different combo works, even though you're doing the exact same thing. It doesn't even have to be an assist. Another example I could use, because of the way homing dash works, do you know that certain combos that I've done, say mid-screen combo, say if you're at a mid-screen here, but a little bit farther back, because you homing dash a little bit farther away before the homing dash hits, do you know the same combo might not work? Because it's a time limit, right? The game discourages you from actually being optimal in many situations because time limit is such a fucking stupid thing to put in a game. Like, I'm not even joking. Lots of times I have actually refilmed combos because I'm like, you know what? I think I can homing dash a little bit farther away than that. Because I think it makes the combo look more aesthetically pleasing, right? But there are definitely combos like, oh, if you homing dash too far away, because it's a time limit, if my camera would work, it's different. So anyway, Dragon Ball FighterZ is funny because, again, there's almost no question if something is optimal or not because it's so easy, and so many people are just like, oh, I can't do it, so that's not optimal, only what I do is optimal, right? Let's get into a game where it might be more hazy what is optimal, right? Take a game like Guilty Gear, right? Now, if you look at a game like, and I'll use some examples of stuff like when I used to play and some of the stuff I've done. Say, one of the things that people said I used to cheat when I used to do it, right? The Kai Ford, the Ford hard / FRC combos, right? Now, in the original Guilty Gear X and Core for that one, there wasn't much of a question what was optimal in that. It's like, if you can physically do this combo, it's the best combo. You know, it builds the most meter, it's the most burst safe, it does way more damage than everything else. If you can physically do this combo, executionally, there's not much question. But like I said, in Accent Core Plus R, there was a variable for what is optimal. Because of the way the damage buffer worked off of Kai's moves in that game, you had the potential for this might be the optimal idea. This might be the optimal damage. This might be the most, you know what I mean? Because the 4+ hard slash FRC combos don't actually do that much more than other combos. They might do like a point, literally, and I've showed this, they might do like a point more of damage, right? A point, you know what I mean? And technically, if you're only doing a point more damage, technically you could actually just run in and like jab a few more times, you know, before you get pushed out. Then technically that would be quotation marks optimal. But where you get into a thing for, say, Guilty Gear is because of the way that weight works and because of the way the pushback works in the corner as a combo gets longer, you start having the variable of, okay, so even though forward hard slash, although it might technically be the best combo if you're thinking about risk reward, and it's still more burst safe than everything, it's like, man, technically you actually can maybe get a little bit more damage if you're doing a little bit more jabs, but you're like changing position. Again, Dragon Ball FighterZ, what do you have? You have a guy slide knockdown. There's not much more position different than that, right? But Guilty Gear has a thing, say, the double big blue setups, right? Which I've showed, you know what I mean? Non-FRC double big blue setups, right? So in that case, it is good to go for a very long combo with a 4+ hard slash because it's taking away more from the guard meter. It's adding to the pushback. And if you push your guy far away enough while doing this combo, then you can get the, as I've shown in videos, the non-FRC double big blue setup, right? Which looks fucking awesome and it's amazing looking, right? And I've showed that this is humanly possible in real matches many times, right? So you start having variables in that situation, you know what I mean? You're like, okay, and there's other mid-screen things like, hey, I'm doing the FRC hard slash mid-screen, right? Technically, this is going to get me better corner carry if I can actually physically do the combo. So it's the optimal combo damage-wise and the optimal combo carry-wise. But if you were to set up, like, say, a triple DP loop, that builds significantly more meter, right? Maybe not significantly, but a lot more, right? So you start getting to like, well, what's the optimal idea for this situation? This might be an optimal thing, or this might. So there, in a game like Guilty Gear, you might be like, oh man, he's going for. There might be some more variables, right? A game like Guilty Gear might be a little bit more hazy for what is optimal if we're thinking about it like that. But again, Dragon Ball FighterZ is an interesting game because, and again, maybe it's Twitter culture. People are like, oh, this is optimal. This I did this. I can't do this. So this is optimal. It's like Dragon Ball FighterZ. There's not really much question. Is it optimal? It's like it's not. You just said I don't understand why people can just be like it's the English language can just be like, oh hey, he's going for a big setup one, dude. He's going for like a big version of the combo. He's not going for an easy combo. He's going for a hard combo. But to consistently call something optimal when it's not is very disingenuous. Disingenuous in a game when there is not many situations where there's any question if it's optimal, right? Whereas Guilty Gear is a game where you can be like, okay, there's a lot of potential variables because of the way that weight works, because of the pushback, because of the way the damage buffers work during long combos and all that kind of stuff, right? Other examples of games I could get, say a game like Street Fighter V, whatever, dude, right? Street Fighter V isn't a game where like it's optimal. Like, what is the question? Like, you know what I mean? It's like pretty much almost every combo. It's like they really made that game's like it's so baby mode, right? You know what I mean? They're kind of like, we want everyone to be able to do it. So, and that a game like Street Fighter is like, oh yeah, he's going for the optimal combo. But you know what I mean? So a game like Street Fighter, okay, maybe not that. Let's look at another example like Karna's Revenge. Karna's Revenge is a very interesting game because that is a game where you could see a clear cut what is optimal as well. Because you can aim dizzy spots. And again, I've showed this before, and people, again, when I started playing Karna's Revenge, it didn't take me long before people were saying I was the best in the world at that game. Remember they had that thread on me on 2chan, whatever it was, the Japanese were talking about it. You know, I was just demolishing people. I learned that game really quick, and things that people said were combo videos, you know what I mean? And there's maybe one guy that used to do the Mizoguchi combo when the guy was dizzy, and I was showing all that shit was possible off random hits, and I was aiming dizzy spots when I was doing it. That is a very interesting game, especially if you consider the time frame that it came out. Again, such a very advanced game, very interesting game when you consider the time frame that it came out. But that is definitely a game where you could actually see, like if you were watching, if they're commentating, you're like, wow, that is the optimal thing. That dude aimed his dizzy spots while doing the combo. He's linking off of random fucking hurricane kicks. You know what I mean? That's a game where like, wow, that is like you can appreciate the optimalness in that. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Because you're like, I guess I'm just kind of like saying that the buzzword of optimal is really it's used so badly in fighting games, especially when certain times there's no question. You know what I mean? At least sometimes for some games you could be like, okay, you can say like that he might be saying that's optimal because he's going for that setup. He needs the pushback. He needs that last hit because he's going to go for the double big blue non-FRC setup. So he needs that setup because if he's too close, if he goes for a baby mode combo, maybe a baby mode combo does almost as much damage as the FRC hard slash combos now and AC plus R, but he needs to go for the big version because the big version adds enough to the hit to the weight of the character and enough to the pushback that allows the FRC, the non-FRC double big blue setup to actually work. You know what I mean? So anyway, the point was certain games you can actually appreciate it. And I can see if we're using the English word, this is optimal, this is not. But certain games when people use optimal and it's so people are so butthurt about this and it's so weird. It's like, dude, just think of a different word. Like you don't have to be like, okay, like not every combo, and I've said this before. If I think a combo is not realistic, I'll say it, right? If certain combos like, hey, this might be the optimal combo, but it's not realistic. So you could just say like, let's go at least for the optimal idea of the combo and take away a little bit of the hard part, right? So then you can at least be doing the optimal idea of the combo, but to constantly, when people call things the max damage combo, the optimal combo, when it's not even anywhere near it is so fucking weird. And it's like, I can't even appreciate it because I don't know what the fuck I'm watching. I don't know if this dude is fucking lying to me about everything now. He's just, because it's just complete bullshit, right? It's like, everything is optimal, dude. Like, come on, we know it. No, just stop, right? So, point was being that I'm trying to say you don't have to be butthurt about like just because it's not. Think of a different word. The fighting game, like, oh man, dude, like if I was an announcer, like, damn, he went for a hard version of the combo, dude. Oh damn, he's not going for an easy shit. He's going for, he's going for a hard thing. But to call everything again words that it's not, it's like, dude, this isn't even the English word meaning of the word. It's just so fucking weird, and I don't understand why people do that. It's very bizarre, right? Anyway, do you get what I'm saying? That's my fighting game video, I guess. I haven't done a theory in a while. I think, did I have anything else to say about I think I thought I had some other game kind of theory stuff to talk about, but I don't exactly remember. I don't remember. Anyway, whatever. I made a couple videos today. That's the end.